We are back with another edition of the Frostburg Sports Awards, and I'm joined by our male athlete of the week, Justice Lee Provost, who finished as a second-team All-MEC participant at the MEC Championships this past weekend. Justice, a pretty good meet for you. How would you rate your performance?
I think I did pretty well. I just kind of went out there. Coach and I had talked in the week leading up to the meet, and we just kind of picked out a few guys I should run with, and I did my best in meeting to stick with them, and then I just hung on as long as I could, and it led me to a good time. I ran a PR on that course for me. Obviously, second team All MEC, so I can't really complain about much from the meet.
Now, if I remember correctly, looking at the social media post, that you entered the race 22nd ranked in the field and then moved up a whole 11 spots. And you talked about picking out the runners that you were going to kind of run with and see who you could keep up with. When you started going through the race and maybe start passing some of those guys, what was going through your head of how far exactly you could go?
Obviously, ranking 22nd, that's not where I wanted to be, so Coach and I talked, and it's a really hilly course down where we ran this weekend, and I obviously grew up around here, and Frostburg's hilly, so I'm used to the hills, and I was kind of like, I could probably run the hills better than most of these guys, so I just went to the race, and I knew when we came up on a hill that was my chance to pass all these guys, and there was multiple times I just got past them, and I just kept going, and that ultimately led to the race I ran.
For the team as a whole, and throughout the season, it's pretty much been you and Caleb Berhanu who have kind of taken that 1-2 spot, and you ran quite a bit faster than Caleb this time. We know you guys have a little bit of a rivalry, but as well coming up, Cole Morgan, who you've been with throughout your entire career here, Brandon Stein, a freshman that has stepped up pretty big time as well, and also Elijah Ennis, and guys that kind of fill out that sort of middle pack to get you guys into finishing middle of the MEC. Obviously, you know, Charleston, D&E kind of finished at the top and trying to fight for position, but looking ahead to the future, how important is it for these young guys to build up the confidence going into next year's championships?
Yeah, I think it's really important, especially because relating back to me, my freshman year I ran the course and I didn't run my best race, but then I came back last year and obviously got second team last year, so having that experience going into this course is going to help greatly next year, and we're returning all our guys except for Cole, so I mean, we're going to have a really good team next year who's experienced, and getting some new recruits in there too will also help. And just kind of Caleb, yeah, me and him have been going back and forth all season, but it's fun competition. Like, we embrace it. We're really competitive with each other. We get on each other's nerves. We're just like brothers. I mean, we all are. It's a great team atmosphere all around.
Now, you guys, in a couple weeks, will have the NCAA Atlantic Regional Championship, and with Frostburg's transition, it's now out of the 3 years and the first time that we've been able to compete at NCAAs. We know your head coach, Shane Brookshire, is very excited for you guys. What's the team's mentality going into this race, where it's a little bit of a step up from just the MEC Championships, where you're going against some of the better PSAC schools as well, teams from around the region, of your mentality of trying to do the best that you can, but also maybe keeping an eye out for these other teams that are so talented?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, as you said, this is our first year. We can obviously go to regionals. So usually this last conference meet's where we end, but now we got a whole nother 2 weeks to prepare for this next meet. And it's really exciting because we're the first team in Frostburg history to really get a chance to compete at it. So, I mean, no matter how we run, good or bad, it's a piece of Frostburg history, and no one can take that away from us. So we're all really excited and looking forward to it.
Well, Justice, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations on finishing as second team All MEC, and we wish you and the team the best of luck at regionals.
Thank you.
All right, well, next up we will have our female athlete of the week, Abby Dennis, so be sure to stay tuned for her as well. Continuing this week of the Frostburg Sports Awards with Abby Dennis, who is our female athlete of the week after she was named co-defensive player of the year for women's soccer and came within a penalty shootout of winning the conference championship as well. Abby, a little bit of a bittersweet week for you guys, but ending the regular season and the conference tournament in a pretty successful way. How would you kind of rate your guys' performances, not allowing a goal throughout the entire tournament run?
You know, we're definitely thrilled that we were able to just make it back to the MEC championship. We didn't allow a goal, you're right. I think that just really speaks to who we are as a team. You know, we really pride ourselves on defense, and we don't just play defense as defense and a keeper. You know, we play total team defense. It starts with our strikers. They're little gnats up there, I like to call them. And like Tony, Mac, Morgan, Maddie, you know, they always fight for the ball. They force the other team to turn the ball over a ton. Then speaking in our midfield, you know, our wingers, they make 50, 70-yard runs all the time, and I bet you if you put mileage trackers on them, they have the most mileage done in a game. And then in the midfield, Caroline, Carly, Hannah, Des, and Lila, when they're in there, they're working so hard to win the ball back, and they do a great job of that. And then our defense, we have a lot of different analogies we like to use for just like defending the fort, not letting anybody through. one of them is, we like to say we're like Flex Seal. So you know the commercial where it's like Flex Seal, they spray it on there and you're bendable but you're not breakable. So Kat's been awesome. She's good to get her back this week. She's a solid defender. She makes a mistake, she covers her own butt. May and Skylar, you know, they're both basically, even though May's a sophomore, she's basically a freshman, and they're both playing amazing. And then our two keepers, Katie and Bilger, you can't ask for better saves. They save her butt all the time. So just really proud of our team and what we've been able to do this week.
For you personally, as mentioned, got MEC Co-Defender of the Year and also a first-team All-MEC selection. We know how much of a team player you are, and not wanting the individual accolades, but here in your fifth year, your final season here at Frostburg, is it sort of a culmination of your career to earn that accolade and have such a good team defense this year, where you've got 15 clean sheets, which is one of the top marks in the country? Yeah,
definitely an honor to be Co-Defensive Player of the Year. And if you just look at our team, we had 7 all-conference players. That's awesome. That really just speaks to the quality of our team. And like I said earlier, we play team defense and team offense. Every time we get a shutout, that's our whole team behind us. Every time we get a goal, our whole team is working towards that. And sometimes our goals start with Bilger and Katie and then work through the defense and into the midfield, and somehow we get an opportunity. So,
as we talked about earlier as well, not allowing a goal in this conference tournament, playing against Wheeling in the first round, Charleston second round, and then Fairmont in the final. And one thing, even without allowing any goals, is that the teams really didn't get a ton of good chances, and it's a credit to the work certainly that the midfield does in front of you and the other backline defenders. And then if anything does happen to get past them, then Bilger and Katie are right there to make the saves. But you faced up against some of the best attacking players, Sydney Cavender from Charleston, who was third in the conference in goals, Kira Kuzinski, who led the conference in goals, and Alejandra Puerto Sorto, who two good attacking players for Fairmont. But when you're going against these top opponents, how do you prepare to face against such quality competition?
I think our coaching staff does a really good job of preparing us to go against these players and kind of scouting them and getting a game plan ready for what to do. All those players give them credit. They are great players, and these teams are really good. Fairmont, give them credit yesterday. They did awesome. They stuck to their game plan. They packed it in and then wanted to counterattack and went down on PKs. But give them credit. They executed their game plan. But all these players, we kind of have Hannah right in front of me, who does a great job of intercepting balls and helping me just double that girl if she does get the ball. And on the wings, if the girl goes out wide, I trust the wingers just to take care of the business and win the ball back.
Now, all things barring, we should be making it into the NCAA regional tournament. We'll be finding out later on today and tonight with you guys watching that. Going into tournament play, having finished off the MEC year, what is the mentality of the team, where we know head coach Brian Parker likes to preach to you guys that take things one game at a time, but this will be the first opportunity for Frostburg to compete at an NCAA tournament at the Division II level after finishing off the 3-year probation period. What is sort of the mentality and thinking around the team of going into, history really at Frostburg?
So this has honestly always been a dream of mine, just to play in an NCAA game ever since I was a young child. When I came in, we were Division III, and we didn't have the opportunity to make it to the NCAA tournament. But then with the transition to D2, we also didn't have a chance. So this was really something for me that, coming back a fifth year, this is something that I really wanted. I'm just so proud of my team for giving us this chance. And after this loss yesterday, I think we're going to be a little extra motivated, and going in, I'm just so proud of them and thankful for this opportunity.
Well, Abby, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations on the run that you guys have had so far. Hoping to keep it going as well in the tournament, and congratulations as well on your Co-Defensive Player of the Year.
Thank you. Really appreciate everything, and thanks to everyone who came out yesterday to support us. That was a great atmosphere, and thanks to you guys and the athletic department staff. You guys all did a great job, and we're really appreciative of it.
All right, well, next up we will have Dylan Culpin from football, who is our pseudo coach of the week. He's taking the place of his head coach, Eric Wagner, so he'll wrap up today's interview. We are wrapping up the awards this week with Dylan Culpin from football, who's taking the place of his head coach, Eric Wagner, as our de facto coach, but really a co-male athlete of the week. Dylan, a pretty big week for you, a pair of interceptions, a sack, getting a shutout as a team defense. Pretty much everything came together in the 37-0 win.
Yes, sir. It was a great defensive game. Still a lot of mistakes to fix, still things we could have done better. But, Yeah, it was a great game, unbelievable. It was hard to believe for me. It's still hard to believe sitting down a couple days later, but I'm really thankful for, how everything went in that game.
Starting out the game and for you guys was pretty much dominant from start to finish in terms of getting a lot of 3 and outs, getting some big sacks and takeaways. The offense was a little bit slow to start the game and kind of kept things close. I remember last year in this game when Wesleyan came here that they got up on us pretty quickly. I think 14-0, 10-0, somewhere in there. They were really hyped and then kind of shut them down. This time you guys really carried the momentum. Was that the feeling and the desire of you guys from the get-go?
Yes. Just like you said last year, they got to a 14-0 lead very early. We were worried about their running back. Their running back is one of the bigger guys in our division, in our group. So we were worried about them running inside zone on us. We were worried about tackling. So really the momentum from the jump of the game was to make sure that we stopped the run, forced them to pass, and we did that, holding them to 5 yards.
For you personally then, got your pair of interceptions in the third quarter. First one kind of just leapt up and grabbed the ball and started running it back. Couldn't quite get to the end zone, but then on the second interception, you read the route well and they kind of threw it right to you. When you saw the open grass, was it in your mind of like, they're not going to tackle me on this one and I'm taking this all the way?
Yeah, so after the first one, and I got hawked down, they were like, man, you should have scored that, you should have done this, you should have done that. That was my first ever interception. Never really gotten a chance to carry the ball, so my vision might not be there. Once I got that second one, shout out to Eric Rhodes, our defensive coordinator, man. He looked at me on the side when I was on the field and told me like, hey, they've been running this, try and cheat it this time. And he put me in a position where I made the play. Once I saw that open field, I was like, there's no way I can let anybody chase me this time. I mean, the offensive line cut blocked, so I didn't have to worry about any of those guys getting me. And then it was just me and the quarterback with help from some of my teammates blocking down the way. So, unreal.
Wanted to talk about Coach Rhodes and the change that has come to this defense, and having your former defensive coordinator, now your head coach, obviously not too much overhaul for you guys on the defensive side, and being, at least in terms of points allowed, the top scoring defense in the MEC this year. What's been, some of the changes or momentum switches with having Coach Rhodes in as opposed to Coach Wagner, who still runs the entire team now?
Well, I think just like the relationship both that I have with Coach Wagner and Coach Rhodes speaks to a testament for the rest of the team. They're both easy guys to communicate with. They care about the guys on the team. And it's just easy to just go in there like, yeah, Coach Wagner's my head coach now, but I still feel like I can go in there, talk to him whenever I want, even like when he was my defensive coordinator. But I feel like Coach Rhodes does a really good job bringing in everybody together, trusting in what he has for us. We just got to run his game plan well. I've built a really good relationship with Coach Rhodes, and I'm thankful that we're able to communicate on different calls and things like that and see what works, what doesn't. But he's been a great addition to the coaching staff this year.
Heading into the end of the year now, one final game against West Liberty on the road, finishing out the year. You look at the 3 losses in the midseason and kind of, put a damper on things in terms of the overall look. But finishing out this year, it's been 3 wins in a row now for you guys and looking to end strong. After those losses in the middle of the year, what was the message from the coaching staff where, we know that it's going to be week by week and don't ever overlook anyone. But, in terms of the overall season, how are they kind of, forming it on you guys?
I mean, with the coaching staff, it's just like once you get that first loss, it's like, okay, you're beatable. Like, it's a realistic thing. And then you really just you should always have the perspective and the mindset that somebody can beat you, no matter how good or how poorly they are. But it's just like taking advantage of the week. It's starting the week out strong, doing the right things, showing the lift on time, going and doing practice, doing everything right in practice. Like mistakes will be made, but let them be like things that are technical mistakes, things that you can work on and critique to make yourself better throughout the week. So really with the coaching staff, it's been, just making sure like, what did we do wrong this week? What can we do better this upcoming week so we can put ourselves to be 1-0? And on top of the coaches, it's just been very player-led. I mean, those losses, hurt us, hurt the seniors, with the success that we've had since we've been here. It was hard, but the message was simple, and it was just making sure that, we take advantage of each and every day. Don't waste it just walking around, run from place to place. Make sure that you're doing your job the right way. Trust the people around you in communication. So while the coaches have been, talking in our ears a lot, it's also been very player-led.
Well, Dylan, thank you for coming on today to talk to us. Really appreciate your time. Congratulations on your big week, your first 2 career interceptions at that. We wish you best of luck here for the end of the season at West Liberty.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Well, that does it for this week. Next week, we will be back with another pair of athletes and a coach. As always, go Bobcats.